Welcome to Bali. Let's talk luxury watches. Luxury watches are not just accessories, they are investments. But what if I told you that when it comes to these investments, scams are happening so widely in the luxury watch industry that there are some authentic Rolexes out there that as a result are now worth less than some really good fakes. Because the authentic Rolex has been devalued so much from the risks that come with buying an authentic watch in today's high scam market. In this video, I'm gonna break down the 5 main watch scams, and the 5th one is one that could get even you in trouble as the party that's purchased that watch. So you're gonna wanna watch until the end. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Pamela. I am a lawyer and an entrepreneur, and this is my personal luxury lifestyle channel, where specifically we talk about luxury, but we also break down the real value behind what's going on with some of these luxury items so that you don't get ripped off. If you're new here, make sure to click that subscribe button because I promise you the average video on this channel could easily save you thousands of dollars. So let's get into these scams. Scam number 1. Scam number 1 is the one that you might be the most familiar with and the one that I call the super clone. We've all seen fake stuff on vacation. I picture here like the street sellers that scoop their stuff up in Italy as soon as they see the police, or in Paris or in Mexico, wherever in the world, there's gonna be those fake kiosks or booths or stations or individuals selling the fakes, okay? But what is now, with the huge advancements of technology worldwide, what has now become unfortunately so common that in individual countries alone, super clones are being seized to the tune of millions of dollars a year. It's just that, the super clone. And this is going to be a fake that is so genuinely authentic appearing that it will be able to fool not just you as the buyer, for sure it will fool most buyers, but what's most dangerous in terms of you getting your hands on this is that a lot of times it's going to fool the seller, like the genuine store seller that is not going to know they're selling you the fake, the super clone. One article I came across, and I'm reading down here, said that in the US, customs seized more than $9 million worth of fake watches last year alone across the most expensive of watch brands, the Rolex, Patek Philippe, and so on and so forth. So it's not people trying to fake a Casio for $30 and sell it to you for $25. They're going for the big guns here. And unfortunately, again, a lot of times it's going to fail the store seller, which in turn means it's for sure gonna fail you, because here you are thinking you're going to an authorized dealer who is not even aware. They're not even aware they've just purchased a fake. Scam number 2. Scam number 2 is what, again, I coined the franken watch. And this scam is just like it sounds. So whereas the level of sophistication required to fail on the first scam we talked about is on the lower end, obviously, if both the seller and the buyer, so the seller, like the individual store owner selling it to you, and you as a buyer fail at that step, that's on the less sophisticated side. The scams, of course, continue to go up in level of sophistication, and that's what lands us at scam number 2, and that's the franken watch. So this is going to be a watch that is going to input into a completely fake watch body certain real watch parts. The real watch parts that a more sophisticated buyer than the buyer in step number 1 is going to know to look for. Maybe the dial, maybe the case, maybe there's a serial number in there somewhere. They're going to input these genuine, real parts, right? That's the message here, into a fake watch. But the parts that are going to be fakes are going to be, the parts that are going to be real put into this fake watch are going to be the parts that the more sophisticated scammer knows, the more sophisticated buyer is going to look for. In the first scam, I cited a US article. For this one, I'm going to cite a French article I found, which said that in France, this was the number 1 scam in the luxury watch industry. And it's funny to me as a business lawyer, as a business owner, when things get so niche, when the scams get so niche. But when you think about watches, it's fairly niche because we're talking luxury, and then we're talking accessories, then we're talking jewelry, then we're talking men's, then we're talking watches. You know, there's a lot of filters there, sure, but the value of getting away with faking a really good watch, I mean, that's a scam of millions of dollars. So this tiny little thing that you put on your wrist can be somebody's lifetime lottery if they get away with fooling you that well. Scam number 3. Scam number 3, again, might be, I kind of feel that with some of these scams, and I didn't mean to do it this way, but I feel that in some ways these scams get more sophisticated as the numbers go on. So this third scam might be even yet more sophisticated in the sense that this is the ghost scam, okay? So when we're buying online, this person scamming you behind scam number 3 is going to cater to a yet more sophisticated level of buyer. Somebody that's going to know exactly what to look for, exactly the documentation to seek, all of that. But the catch is that buyer is going to be shown all the right things, but the watch never arrives. This, when you think about it, is the most dummy of the scams because it's the most low effort. All the scammer has to do is put a few photos together. Nonetheless, it's an extremely sad, unfortunate, tragic, costly scam. Scam number 4. Scam number 4 is going to pertain to the condition of the product you're buying. So this scam is one where you might be buying a genuine Rolex, and unlike scam number 2 where certain parts are going to be fake, this Rolex might be real, like 100% through and through. Piguet or Patek, like this, you're buying the real watch. However, how you're going to be scammed here, because again, scam is a term that has a lot of different meanings. And I'm reminded here of my mentor. When I started law, I had a lot of mentors, all men, all old. On the bright side of what that meant, despite a lot of miscommunications between us, what that meant is that they were very, very well experienced, very dogs when it came to business law. And one of them, he was 40 years my senior at the time, still is, he told me after practicing law for over 40 years, every day he still came across a new way in which somebody scammed another party. So this is kind of a creative version of a scam in that you're kind of getting a real watch, something of genuine value, but what you're being scammed on is the condition of that item. So right before you go and pick it up, it's going to be a little extra polished with a little extra, special, I want to say pomade, but I think that's just for hair, like a special wax or some fake substance that's going to basically only shine for like a few hours of when you buy the product, and then it'll disintegrate and then you'll realize what you've done. However, the difference between a good and a mint condition, valuable, expensive luxury watch could easily be the difference in doubling, tripling the value of that watch. Easily, even more, but I'm trying to be conservative here. So the incentive that somebody has to buy a little special wax or sauce to shine up your Rolex and label it mint, unworn, things of that label of usage, and charge you a premium for it, and then a few hours later it's looking a little different than when you picked it up at the store, that's a nasty scam. You've been scammed in terms of how much you paid here. Again, you would still be walking away with an authentic watch unless somebody is hybriding all of these scams and Frankensteining the Franken scams. But here again, you're walking away with something real, but you'll be scammed in terms of how much you're paying for it, because it would have been worth far, far less than what you paid for. Scam number 5. Scam number 5 to me as a lawyer is the most interesting and from a legal perspective, because scam number 5 pertains to stolen goods, to you buying a stolen watch. The danger of this scam is certainly financial, but also legal, criminal. This scam is a lot more dangerous to the buyer than the buyer might ever realize. And of course, the beauty of the scam is that the buyer doesn't even understand. You don't know you've bought a stolen good. But that's not, that's part of the scam. But the danger to you of not knowing is the real boo-boo of this scam, because you could, depending on the country you're in, this scam could cost you as a buyer serious money. So financial penalties and legal fees. It could cause jail time or any hybrid of the jail versus money penalties. That's usually what's used in criminal law, depending on the level of crime being committed. Which again, how crazy is it that you wouldn't even know you committed a crime? Logistically speaking, this scam, it's far less likely when we apply logic that this scam is applying to somebody stole a fake Rolex and now you're wearing the fake Rolex. We're talking about, because from a value perspective, for something to be pursued criminally, arguably there have to be some real value going on there to make it worth the time of the criminal system, right? Because there's also other heinous crimes that could be done to a person that are going to arguably, I hope, take priority to a piece of metal watch. So again, the scam here is that you're buying the real thing, but the person you're buying from stole it. So that is the bamboozle trap here. From what I understand, there's something called a watch register, and I will try to link it here as I'm speaking if I can find it. And I think a way around this scam is to check serial numbers against the watch register. And honestly, a lot of these scams, as you can imagine, are going to try and come about when you're trying to be a little creative and a little shifty in how you're sourcing the watch yourself. Whether that's the gray market, which the gray market we've discussed in other videos talking about watches on this channel that I'll link down below, but whether it's on the gray market, whether it's from individuals on a Facebook marketplace or something like that, whether it is from a little shady of a, shop owner. So these scams are going to dramatically go down if you're buying a Rolex from Rolex. And again, I say dramatically go down because in today's time, you never know. I'm somebody that I invest in physical precious metals, for example. And I remember just the other year it came out that one of Canada's largest banks had been caught selling fake gold bars. So there you go. Is it impossible that Rolex itself could be selling a fake, whether they know about it or not? Of course it's not impossible. It's 2025. But again, I hope these 5 items have brought some awareness in case you were thinking of creatively scoping out a luxury watch and maybe even talked you out of buying one altogether. How's that for a luxury channel? You watch the video and I'm not trying to sell you anything. So in that spirit, again, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and click subscribe, because as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, watching any one of the videos I post on this channel, it could easily save you thousands and thousands of dollars. And if that's something you're into, you're gonna wanna watch the next video in this series. See you on the next one.